It's actually a special Shabbos this week, known as Shabbos Chazak, as we conclude the first of the 5 Chumoshim, the entire Chumash Bereishis, and as we do, the entire community will shout out, Chazak Chazak V'nischazek, be strong, and be strengthened. If you look at the last pasuk of Chumash Bereishis, it becomes difficult to understand why the Torah chose to conclude the entire Chumash Bereishis and everything that we've learned since the beginning of the Torah with these concluding words. The Torah says, Vayomos Yosef, in the last pasuk, Yosef died. Ben Meya ve'eser shonim, he was 110 years old upon his passing. Vayachan tu oisei, they preserved his body. Vayisem ba'oroin, and they placed him in a coffin. B'mitzrayim, Chazak Chazak V'nischazek, they placed him in a coffin in Mitzrayim, and that's the conclusion of Chumash Bereishis. Seems very strange that the Torah would choose to conclude it with these words, that Yosef died, and they placed him in a coffin, and they buried him. Well, they didn't bury him, but they placed him in a coffin in Mitzrayim. And with this we shout Chazak. What's the message here? And the commentaries ask even more. They say, we have a rule actually in Torah, Mesayim b'davar tov, which means a person is always supposed to conclude, definitely when it comes to a section of Torah, one is always supposed to conclude b'davar tov on a positive note, with something optimistic, with something uplifting, with something, just with some kind of a positive message. And here, the Torah is literally saying, Yosef died, they preserved his body, they placed him in a coffin, b'mitzrayim, and that's it. And from this, we're supposed to draw inspiration and strength and scream Chazak Chazak V'nischazek. What's the message? And why would the Torah choose to end the entire Chumash Bereishis this way? A wise man once said, you can never give an intellectual answer to an emotional question. And what that means is that when people suffer or go through difficulties in life, may Hashem protect us, you'll often hear them say, why? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening? The why is misleading. It sounds like they're asking for an answer. Sounds like they're asking for an explanation. There is no explanation that can answer their question. Number one, we don't have an answer for why the Rebbe Shalom makes these kinds of things happen in the world. Number two, there isn't really an answer anywhere for this. It's one of those things that are truly unknown. And of course, most importantly, number three, it's not our job to provide answers or explanations or Rahman al-Islam justifications for these kinds of things. Rather, it is our job to do what the Rebbe Shalom does in these kinds of situations, and that is show up, be present, and as much as possible, just be a source of comfort for the person who's going through this by telling them, we're here. Imoy anoichi betzora. We find repeatedly in Chumash and Gemara where the greatest of tzaddikim challenged Hashem and asked Hashem why different things happened to the Jewish people. We don't find anywhere that the Rebbe Shalom gave an explanation for why it happens. But when pushed, so to speak, to the wall, the Rebbe Shalom's answer is, when a Jew suffers, I, Hashem, suffer together along with them. This, the commentaries explain, is the deeper meaning of the last pasuk of Chumash Bereishis. The Jews are about to enter into a long and painful Golus Mitzrayim. Things are going to get very rough before they get better. The Jews are going to suffer. Rahman al-Islam. As they do, they'll look around for something to hold on to be a source of encouragement, to some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, that they can hold on to reassure them of the fulfillment of Hashem's promise that they will be redeemed. And here, at the end of Chumash Bereishis, Yosef is about to pass. He tells his brothers, he tells his family, Elokim pokoid yifkoid eschem, the Rebbeinu Shalom will one day redeem you. The golus and the pain and the suffering and the misery is one day going to end. And then when it ends, all Jewish people will be taken out of Mitzrayim and will all become Hashem's chosen nation and will receive the Torah, and please God will make it to Eretz Yisrael, the promised land. But until such point as the Jews are redeemed and liberated and taken out of Golus, says the Torah. Vayomas Yosef, that even after Yosef's passing at the age of 110, and even after everything he had accomplished in his life, and he had finished his shlichus, or so it seemed, and it was over. Vayisem ba'oroin b'Mitzrayim. They placed him in a coffin, and even when he was in a coffin, even when he was dead, he remained in Mitzrayim. For Yosef's message was simple. So long as a Jew is suffering in Mitzrayim, I, Yosef, who was the one who brought the Jews to Mitzrayim in the first place, I, Yosef, who are the spiritual leader of the generation of Jews who came down to Mitzrayim, so long as there is even a single Jew alive in Mitzrayim, says Yosef, I will be in Mitzrayim together with them. One day, with Hashem's help, I will leave. But I will leave only one moment after every last Jew has left Mitzrayim. And this becomes really the parting message, the concluding message of Chumash Bereishis. As we're about to begin Chumash Moshe and read the tremendous struggles that the Jewish people will go through in the first and very painful Golus, the Torah says, wait, before we tell you the story of Golus, let us tell you the story of Geula that comes before the story of Golus. For Yosef remained together with the Jews in Mitzrayim as long as they were there. He was there in death as much as he was there in life, together with the Jews. And so I guess the lesson is that a Jew needs to remember that no matter what we go through, and no matter how dark the Golus may seem, not only are we promised that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, there is a Geula that comes at the end of a Golus, but even more than that, so long as we are here, Imo Yonoichi Betzora, the Rabbeinu Shloim, and the Yosef HaTzadiks, and all of these spiritual giants that are here to encourage us, are here together with us in Mitzrayim. With every painful moment, a Jew needs to remember, we're never alone. Have a wonderful Shabbos.